back them, you're celebrating. Football season may be over, but the action never stops.
Are you ready for some baseball?
At SportsGrid, we're always in the game. We bring you 24/7 betting insights, expert picks, and real-time analysis. Next big play is already in motion. Are you ready? It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity. I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this once? Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Let's roll. This is SportsRage. I am Gabriel Morency. The players, the hustlers, the people that bust them, and everybody else in between. Let's do this thing. The Monday Night Meltdown has begun, and we've got a lot of stuff to break down this evening on the Monday Night Meltdown, including the Athletics baseball team debut in Sacktown, Sacramento, and they went all out. They spared no expense in Sacramento. State-of-the-art facilities that they're playing in, but we'll get to that a little bit later on. As far as the game itself is concerned, listen, it's the first game. For the record, everybody on the Athletics is going to be wearing number 24 tonight in honor of Ricky Henderson, who, of course, passed away. So Ricky lives on tonight in Sacktown. It's their first game there. You know, the Cubs have been on the road for a little while now. Right? They went to Tokyo. They came back. They went on the road. They played in Arizona. Now they're playing in Sacramento. You know, you got to believe it's going to start to catch up to them a little bit here. The Athletics are a respectable team this year. At least I believe. I bet over 71.5. We're going to play the A's tonight. The winds are gusting in Sacramento. And we talked a lot about how the ball is going to fly out of the stadium. And in the PCL League, the AAA affiliate of the San Francisco Giants plays there. And all their games are like super high scoring all the time for the most part. But we should know, but they don't play at this time of the year. And it's actually pretty cold in Sacramento by Sacramento standards. It gets cold in the desert. You know what I mean? In the valleys and all that type of stuff. It gets chillier. The low is like 46 degrees tonight, and the winds are 32 miles an hour right now. And looks like they're what can I call it? I guess I'll just call it what it is. Their shed, their tent, their circus tent that they have as their media center is like going to blow away. It's pretty windy. We're seeing different videos from the actual park tonight. It is pretty windy there, and it seems to be blowing, I don't know. There's never been a game there before, right? So it's blowing all over the place, essentially, right? It's blowing all over the place. But the fact that the total is 8.5 leads you to believe that it's blowing in. You know what I'm saying? If it was blowing out, the total would be like 12.5. Because everybody knows, right? Anybody who's paying attention to this knows. Like, the odds makers clearly are aware. Like, we got to be careful with the totals in this stadium. not to mention the torpedo bats that people are using. And, all right, forget about the torpedo bats. We'll get into this tonight, but the balls are juiced. They're playing with, like, super balls, man. These balls are juiced, bro. Like, not everybody's using a torpedo bat, but everybody's hitting home runs, except the people that I bet on my season win total to hit home runs. You notice that? Anybody supposed to hit home runs isn't, besides Aaron Judge. But nevertheless, so give me the Athletics tonight. They're not calling them the Sacramento Athletics. I will. All right, they're going to be there for a long time. So, like, talk about like being used if you're a city. Yeah, we're going to come and we're going to play in your city, but we're not going to use your name. Like, you know what I mean? It's like having sex with somebody and saying we're going to put a bag over your head. It's like, yeah, you know what? it's pretty disrespectful, it seems to me. So, you know what? Out of respect for the city of Sacramento, I'm going to call them the Sacramento Athletics, all right? The Sacramento Athletics. Too bad for Oakland. It sucks. It is what it is. Give me the Athletics tonight to win the game. And as far as the total is concerned, I kind of lean with the over, but I want to take the over because it was 8.5, but whatever. The fact that it's so windy, I don't know how this stadium's going to play tonight. Let's just take the Athletics to win a baseball game. So give me the A's to win a game. The Dodgers, Glasnow makes his season debut tonight. Dodgers are 5-0. First defending champions to go 5-0 since the 1985 Detroit Tigers. For the record, when the Dodgers went 4-0 the other night, it was the first time that the Dodgers went 4-0 since 1981. All right, it should be noted, 1981, they won the World Series. The Dodgers are now 5-0, and they're so good, they're 5-0, and Glasnow hasn't even pitched yet. Although Sasaki is not getting lit up. You can't really get lit up if you don't throw it over the plate. Sasaki's got wild control issues, and the kid was in tears in the dugout over the weekend in Los Angeles. That's the biggest Dodger problem. And, oh, yeah, Freddie Freeman's not playing tonight because he slipped in the shower. A lot of times when an athlete tells you they slipped in a shower, they're lying. All right? There's point-blank lying. Like the old slip thing, you know? Yeah, I remember Jose Theodore, I slipped on the ice. Jeff Kent, I slipped on my stair. I was washing my truck, and I slipped. Everybody slips. But I believe Freddie Freeman. Freddie's cursed. Like, Freddie's, like, got it going on, but every day, like, Freddie Freeman, he's like Mr. Magoo. Like, Freddie wakes up and, like, you know what I mean? He nearly gets struck by lightning. He doesn't realize it. Like, this guy's like a magnet for stuff, Freddie Freeman. So Freddie, like, twisted his ankle getting into the shower today. So Freddie Freeman's out on the lineup. But I already got the Dodgers in a parlay. We posted it early. Give me the Dodgers and the Phillies parlay. So I'm already in on the Dodgers, but I think the Dodgers are going to win the game. It's pretty pricey. The Braves got problems. Acuna's on the injured reserve. They're not getting their guys back for a while now. And Jerks and Profar got busted for I don't know, whatever he took. Performance-enhancing drugs. I got to believe, too, in 2025, to get caught for anything, like, it's like, you know, if you get suspended for doing drugs in the NBA, like, you must have been, like, snorting fentanyl off a cheerleader's back, like, in the arena, because it's nearly impossible to get suspended in that league, right? It's sort of like the NHL. It's like, you know what I mean? If you get suspended by the NHL for, like, you know, drug use or something, it's like you must have done something really over the top. But, I don't know, baseball, I don't know, they were testing. Like, I don't know, whatever it is he did. He's out for 80 games. The Braves are apologetic. They're admitting it. They say that he learns his lesson. So we got the Braves and the Dodgers. Braves haven't won a baseball game yet this year. It's pricey, right? You can take the Dodgers on the run line. It wouldn't surprise me if they won by 1, though. You figure the Braves are desperate. They're 0-4 coming off the games in San Diego. So you got Glasnow making his debut of the season. His strikeout prop is 6.5. It looks like it's a dark, sort of cloudy night in L.A., too. His strikeout prop, 6.5. Feels a little high for the first game. He's stepping onto the mound now. He's warming up. Player props in this game. So I already got the Dodgers in a parlay. I think the Dodgers win the game. Player props, we're playing all Dodgers. Mookie bets at plus money, I always take it. So Mookie bets over 1.5 total bases, plus 130, yes. Tommy Edman, they're not really adjusting too much. Tommy Edman total bases over 0.5. Give me over 0.5 total bases for Tommy Edman, minus 170. Let's go with Shohei Ohtani. Ohtani's been not, you know, he hasn't hit a home run in a couple of games. I bet on these total base props every Dodger game. So Ohtani's due. I don't think he's won for me the last 2 games, actually. So Ohtani's due for at least a freaking double tonight, if not a home run. And big night in LA tonight. You got the Dodgers going on right now against the Atlanta Braves, one of their bigger rivals. And you got the Houston Rockets and the Los Angeles Lakers. The Rockets 12-1 straight up in their last 13 basketball games. And yeah, they're smoking hot. You can't dispute that. But good teams win, great teams cover. The fact of the matter is, the Rockets, as you know, they're 12-1 straight up. But the Rockets, ATS, just 4-6 against the spread during this run. And in fact, they're 1-4 against the spread in their last 5 games, even though they're 12-1 straight up. The Lakers are favored tonight. Bigger game for the Lakers. The Lakers don't want to fall out of home court advantage in the 4-hole. And it's a slippery slope. If they lose a couple of more games, next thing they know, they could be in the play-in tournament, actually. So Houston are kind of, not getting locked in here, but Houston don't have as much to play for. They're not, they should be a tired team tonight. I think the Lakers are to play tonight. I also think it's a higher scoring basketball game. Give me the Lakers, so let's go over the number. We got a stacked show tonight. Ton of action going on. Let's roll.
So my team didn't win this weekend, but I still did with this app that's taking over the game. Sports Millions Pick'em lets you make quick and easy predictions. Pick your favorite players, go higher or lower, and you can still win big even if your team loses. Plus, the multiplier is insane. With just a few picks, you can win big money. So get on it. They've got a welcome bonus to help you start off your winning streak.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity. I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this once? Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
The Monday Night Meltdown. This is SportsRage. I am Morency, SportsGrid Radio and Television Network, Sirius XM Channel 159. A lot of stuff going on for a Monday night. At some point, there will be the sort of slowdown, right? You know, we go through the NFL withdrawals. The UFL is back. The CFL is around the corner right now. Baseball, you got the playoffs. So, you know what? We take advantage of it. Hell, we got a college basketball tournament going on right now as we speak. The Crown of the Court is going on in Las Vegas, and there's some controversy about this tournament, actually. I'm not affected by it, fortunately, and that's all that matters. What happens to me? So I'm not affected by this, but I'm just being honest. That's everybody's selfish in this world nowadays, so I might as well be as well. So I see that I'm like, yeah, well, that sucks for you. That's all I thought. But was this crown of the court, right? They made a big deal about it in Vegas and stuff like this. So this big tournament, and Derek Stevens from Circa is doing videos, come down, hang out at the Circa, go to the games. It's a great format, right? You have a tournament in Vegas. It's just made up for a bunch of degens to go and bet on the games and have something to do in Las Vegas. And the teams are getting a prize, though. They're getting paid, which I don't really see what the problem is. But nevertheless, long story short, since the teams are getting paid and they're college teams, you can't take bets on it, supposedly, in some states, because, you know, these states and the politicians have nothing else more important going on. People are paying $300 for a box of eggs. Yet you're worried about like somebody betting on a Nebraska-Boise State crown of the court game in Las Vegas, right? So, anyways, so you guys get this, and Cam, you'd be freaking out. Yeah. They people put their bets in. They voided their bets. So you got your bet in. You're winning the game. They did this like mid-game, like today. They basically like these commissions basically found out. And they're like, you're not allowed taking bets on this. Like in Vegas, they canceled the bets. They give you your money back for the outright winners and all that type of stuff. All these states are not I saw FanDuel and DraftKings posted, Sora, we can't take action legally on the crown of the court. And I don't know, my book is a legal book, and they're still doing it, but I might not be in the jurisdiction of some dumb politician that's worried about the crown of the court. I don't really understand, though, how it's a problem if they're getting paid. The winners are getting paid for this. Teams get paid to play in bowl games. What's the difference? Like, so what's the difference if you're playing for like the money at the end? Oh, the winning school gets this or whatever. This is why the NCAA too will just get disbanded, and because you see, like universities are doing what they want. They're like, oh, we're just going to go play in this tournament. Who's going to stop us? But anyway, some of the sports books aren't taking bets. If you're tuning in right now, if you're out there, let me know if you were affected by this, because I saw a lot of people crying about this earlier in the day. I am not personally affected by it. I don't know what Bet365's policy is from place to place, but they're not in a lot of these states as well because they don't want to deal with the insanity of the local governments. Let's bring in Joe Madden right now. We got Cam Stewart in the house. Joe, we have the Dallas Stars and the Seattle Kraken. Looks like you're wearing Dallas Star green here. What are you doing with this hockey game tonight?
Well, it's all about the Dallas Stars. I took them to cover the puck line in the first period and the full game. We just saw this matchup between these two teams the other night, and Dallas had their way with the Seattle Kraken. I expected them. You know, some people look at that revenge angle, but the Kraken just played such a bad game that I didn't think they were going to be able to get it done. Now, the Kraken did score first, but the Stars have come back with those 2 goals. 14 minutes still left in the first. That total's flown all the way up to 8.5. If anything, if you don't have a bet, I'd lay the 1.5 with the Dallas Stars. I think you also look at Rupe Hintz and Rantanen for his points tonight. Rantanen was 2 points away from 700 going into tonight's game.
I like the under 6.5 in this game. As you stated, the total is 8.5 right now. 3 goals in 6 minutes. Cam, what's your pick for the Dallas Stars and the Seattle Kraken?
I'm waiting for a 2.5 with the Kraken. I'm not going to get it. Dallas is probably going to win, but great observation by you guys. They've scored 3 goals already, and the last time they played, the final was 5-1. So you're getting a live number at 8.5. That would be a prudent bet. Under 8.5, and there's no juice right now. It's even. So I kind of like with that under right now. I think Seattle can hang. I'm looking for a 2.5.
The Seattle Kraken are turning into, they're very symbolic of these Seattle sports teams that
horrible.
They don't want to spend money. Right. Yeah. They just like the Seattle, like if you look at the Vegas Golden Knights, they came in, they made a splash. Seattle have taken the opposite approach, but I'm not going to say the honeymoon is over, and I'm in that market, but so I see the coverage of it. They get coverage and they're popular, but people are starting to get angry about it. Like they can't just suck like the novelty, Joe, of, oh, we have a team in Seattle now. That wears off after a couple of years of people paying big money for tickets and watching a bad product. The Kraken are just not a very good hockey team right now, Joe, and they know it. The organization knows it. Like, there could be some changes coming in Seattle. But they got to get more aggressive. They don't sign players. They don't spend money. They had an opportunity in the expansion draft when they came into the league. Like, you guys remember Vegas, for people tuning in, Vegas took, like, every team's, like, star player that they could, right? And they took all these dudes that were, like, you know, didn't have a contract and, like, were playing for something. But they kind of put a fantasy, like, people at the time were like, oh, they're just taking all the biggest names. Yeah, and it worked for them. Seattle went the opposite. Remember, it was like, oh, they're being slow and steady, and they're starting with the defense. It's like, yeah, you're going slow and steady. You're going nowhere, right? This organization's spinning their wheels, Joe. They're an average hockey, a bad hockey team right now.
Yeah, they absolutely are. You look at this team, they don't have the goaltending they need, like Joey Decourt, their best goaltender, and no knocks against him, but you're never going to beat a team
Joey
with
D.
Joey D?
Mediocre.
Yeah,
he's mid. He's mid.
He's mid? Yeah, I agree. He is totally mid. But you've got Brandon Montour, and I actually like what we've seen out of Brandon Montour in the second half, like when we come out of the break here. He had 5 shots on goal in the last game, so don't sleep on him.
And to that point, when they came out, Gabe, they were good. Remember? Like, they went to the playoffs and they gave Colorado all they can. They're regressing. They're not getting better. They're getting worse. Yeah. And that's your point. They got to do something about it. They came out and they're just getting worse and worse. They're going nowhere.
I'm just thinking, too, if you get a nice jersey, but what player are you going to buy? Like, they don't have a face of the franchise. You know what I'm saying?
You are banking on a guy that's got one Sweet 16 berth in his career.
How many years has he been a D1 head coach?
What, 15?
18.
This clown is walking into that tradition. Let me tell you something, bro. You just stepped into the hot seat, because if you don't turn it around quick at Villanova, they're going to boo you out of there just like they booed you out of College Park tonight.
Only on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start, so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're gonna go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's gonna help me get the job done. There is not gonna be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Well, the Dodgers just did something that they haven't done a ton of, actually, despite the fact that they're 5-0, is get an early lead. 4 of the 5 games this year the Dodgers have won and played it, they've actually been down in and come back. They've rallied back late. They've been down by a couple of runs, and, mid-game, 7th inning, like, they're very casual about it. Yeah, don't worry about it. We're going to win. And then they do. But tonight, they just put 2 on the board in the bottom of the 1st inning. Teoscar Hernandez with a home run. man, this guy's been unbelievable as a Los Angeles Dodger. And he drives in Shohei Ohtani, who was on first base after Shohei walked. So I didn't play Hernandez. It crossed my mind, but the Dodgers is kind of tough. Can't play them all, but man, Teoscar Hernandez has been unbelievable. And for everybody that cries about the Dodgers and this money stuff and this and that, Teoscar Hernandez was a free agent this year, guys. And he didn't re-sign with the Dodgers for like 2 months. It was like a long process, 6 weeks or whatever. Like they put him out there. His agent, like Teoscar wanted to be a Dodger, but he owed it to himself. It's a business, and we all knew it. And the Dodgers told him, go out there and see what's out there. Like, see what, you know what I mean? If you can make a ton of money, God bless you, or whatever. We got our offer for you. And my point is, he ended up signing with the Dodgers, guys, for like 4 years for like $74 million. I think 50 of it was guaranteed. You know what I mean? He got like 50 up front or something, but like, it wasn't that big of a deal. So my whole point is for people to cry, the Blue Jays could have signed him. Oh, yeah, they had him. The Mariners could have signed him. Oh, yeah, they already had him. Right? The Red Sox, the Yankee, like you go down the list, teams could have had this guy, right? But they didn't. And he's back with the Dodgers now, but then people cry about the Dodgers lineup. It's like, well, you could have signed him. Well, you had Tommy Edman, same thing. It's like you could have got Tommy Edman, right? But you didn't. The Dodgers did. Teoscar Hernandez is unbelievable. And nightmare start to the season for the Braves. Joe, what did you do with the Calgary Flame game tonight as the Flames are down to the Avs?
Oh, I'm reluctant to tell you. I did take the Flames plus the 1.5 on the puck line, expecting them to be able to keep this tight here. I looked at Scott Wedgwood coming into goal here for the Colorado Avalanche, and he has really poor numbers versus Calgary. He's got an .895 save percentage, so I expected Calgary to be able to hit him. I looked at Mackenzie Weegar for the power play point because he's actually got 19 power play points on the season, the majority of those coming via assist, and I expected if Calgary could get on that power play for them to be able to score. So not looking pretty right now with Colorado up 2-0, but I do think Calgary can get something done in this third period. We know this is a team that has been fighting with those comeback wins, and I do think here, I know Colorado is the better team, but you look at how much Calgary has to play for. If they can hit Scott Wedgwood here in this one, they're going to be able to get something done. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed, Gabe, but it's not looking pretty for Calgary, as the St. Louis Blues are just dominating here down the stretch, and I don't think even if they get the win, they'll make the playoffs.
I don't think they are either. I don't think the Vancouver Canucks are either. It's unfortunate. I don't think there's going to be playoff hockey in Vancouver or Calgary. They just don't stop the St. Louis Blues, right? They're relentless. You know, nine in a row. Since that Four Nations stuff, they've only lost twice. And they're so hot right now, guys. Forget about the wild card. Like, it goes to show how far back they actually were, that they've won so much, and they're still only in the wild card position, but they're nearly out of it. They're only 2 points back right now, the Edmonton Oilers. If I was the Oilers, I'd be a little bit concerned right now that I'm going to be the ones that are going to end up like as the wild card team. The way that the Blues are playing, they're not going to ease up. They got 7 games left. I mean, wow, what this Blues team is doing right now, unbelievable. Cam, what's your pick for the Flames and the Avs right now?
I like Colorado as the last game of the parlay. I'd actually lay 2.5 with them. Like, I think they're probably going to blow Calgary out. This is it's just one of those things. Just Colorado's the real deal. They can put Calgary to bed. To your point about St. Louis, I think they can actually win a playoff series. Like, they're a very dangerous team. If we're looking for futures right now, and we talk about the strength of the West, but that's the thing about St. Louis is they're rolling right now, and every game's a playoff game, and they're showing up and they're winning these type of games that they need to win and getting points. So yeah, I'm all over the Avalanche tonight, Gabe. I need it to cap off a parlay. Under night in the National Hockey League so far. The New Jersey game stayed under. Philadelphia won 2-1. That total was 6.5. And now the only game that might go over is the Kraken and Dallas. This game's low scoring too. Only 2-0 heading into the third.
Well, we were wondering about how the stadium was going to play in Sacramento. Speaking of totals, the Cubs have put 4 up in the first inning on the Athletics. 4-0 right now for the Chicago Cubs. We're to the top of the second inning. In-game total is currently 11.5 right now in Sacramento. Man, the A's are just getting lit up. Baseball is wild this year. Like, yeah, one team just shows up with a torpedo bat and smacks you in the skull with it.
You are banking on a guy that's got one Sweet 16 berth in his career.
How many years has he been a D1 head coach?
What, I think 15?
18.
This clown is walking into that tradition. Let me tell you something, bro. You just stepped into the hot seat, because if you don't turn it around quick at Villanova, they're going to boo you out of there just like they booed you out of College Park tonight.
Only on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start, so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
This is SportsRage. I am Morency. The pits, the players, the hustlers, the people that bust them, and everybody else in between. Dodgers and Braves. We're into the second inning right now. Glass now on the hill for the Dodgers for the first time this year. Man, he's got quite the do going on here tonight. And so does Holmes, actually. Holmes has got the old school. He's got the Kenny Powers mullet rocking. And Glass now's got like the Eddie Vedder look, some serious lettuce going on. They got hockey hair rocking in this baseball game. So the Braves get rocked. Profar's out. We'll talk about this with George Kurtz later. Profar's going to be out for 80 games now after he gets popped for testing positive. Okuna's hurt. They can't. They're 0-4 on the season. Now they got to play the Dodgers. I'm not happy, actually, from the Dodger perspective that you got a Braves team that's going to be pretty hungry and desperate coming into this series. But it's a long season, taking one at a time. But Dodgers off to a great start this year at 5-0. So, Joe, talking about your Flames, they're down 2-0. I think my Canucks are in a lot of trouble as well. They're not going to make the playoffs. You can't catch the Blues. Like, they win too much. Like, and we're running out of racetrack right now. There's not enough games left in the season. But we got some big-time games tomorrow. And a team, I know the Maple Leafs beat them. It's one of their rare losses. But the LA Kings have really been closing the season strong right now as well. You get the Winnipeg Jets and the LA Kings tomorrow night, Joe, in Los Angeles at the Crypt. Totals 5.5. The Kings are -120 favorites. What do you think about tomorrow night's heavyweight tilt?
It's got to be straight and under, right? Like the under 5.5 and jump on it quick before it becomes too juice. Because you look at both of these teams, Connor Hellebuck is fantastic between the pipes. Darcy Kemper has been as well. Both teams I do expect to come out so strong defensively. And the only way I can see it going over is if we have that 3-2 situation, we get the empty netter or we get the goal to tie it up and push it to overtime. So I do think it's going to be a lower scoring game. The last time these teams matched up, LA was able to get that 2-1 win. And I look at the Winnipeg Jets. They've won their last 3 games. They beat Vancouver Sunday 3-1. And I could see the Winnipeg Jets rolling in here to LA and getting the win over the LA Kings. I know the Kings are so strong at home. This team's gone 27-4-4 at home on the season, but the Jets, there's something special about them right now. They are playing so strong, sitting first in the Central. So my money will go on the Jets and the under in this game.
Another big one tomorrow. in the Eastern Conference. The Montreal Canadiens try to get into the playoffs, and they play the Florida Panthers. They just beat the Panthers over the weekend. It's actually the third straight time they've beaten the Panthers. So for whatever reason, Montreal played well against Florida and have beaten them 3 straight times. And I don't know if you guys saw, but at the end of the game, I don't know who it was. What's the guy's name? I forget the guy's. I think it was Mikola. It was somebody on the. I got to forget who it was. I think it was him though. But at the end of the game, like he pulled like a beer league brawl type of move. Like it's very un-NHL like what he did. It was at the end of the game, and like the puck was in the Florida zone, and he freaking teed one up, and he just blasted a slap shot at the Canadiens. Like they it was a near brawl after. Like they got into it and stuff. Like if I was the Canadiens, whatever, the Canadiens are fighting into the playoffs and stuff like that. But like in my leagues, in my neighborhood where we grew up, like we'd have money on like, all right, who's gonna fire and hit the coach of the other team first with a puck? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Why not?
I don't know. I'm telling you, Cam. It's all right. You guys took a snap shot at us. All right, bro. Like if I was a defenseman on the Habs, I wouldn't like. I'm not gonna hit the coach. I'm not gonna hit Paul Maurice. He's a good guy, but you know what I'm saying? Okay, I would rifle one that freaking right at their bench, bro, off the glass, like right over their heads at the bench, and just say, "Listen, next time I'm going to do a little lower, and you're going to lose some teeth, pretty boy, right? Like you got to scare them for this, and not a fight. Now fighting's not good enough because that's not no. It's like firing a bullet at someone, Cam. It's like no. We owe you a free fire. We're going to fire a puck at you guys when you're vulnerable sometime. Like that's what I would do. I'd fire right at the bench, bro.
And I'll tell you something else. There was some investigation, people looking into this. The Montreal Canadiens got jobbed in every single way in that game, and they still found a way to win.
Yeah, the league loves the Panthers, bro.
Yeah, I know.
Batman loves Florida.
Oh, it's sickening. And I saw the guy, and I'm not even a Montreal fan. I know, it's a joke. And I saw all the things in that game that I watched. There were 7 different instances where Montreal got screwed. And I mean screwed. And people are noticing it now. They were so bad to say that, what, you're favoring these guys? Are you betting against these teams? This is
they clearly
pathetic.
are.
It is. And I'll tell you something, Bettman. This is a joke, bro. Everybody knows. I'm a Leaf fan, and I'm defending Montreal. It was pathetic, sickening, and the Florida Panthers get every damn call in the book. I don't care if you're a Panther fan. It's fact, Jack. Take a look at the video. It's disgusting.
What do you think, Joe? Plus 160 the Canadiens tomorrow. Like I said, they could beat them again. They've already beaten them 3 times. Why not a 4th time?
I'm a Canadiens fan or something.
Look at who Florida has the next day as well. They're battling it out with Toronto in the Atlantic for that first place in the Atlantic. They're sitting 3rd right now, and they could catch them, and they will be looking ahead to the game versus Toronto. They know they can't beat Montreal. Like you said, Montreal always beats them, and Montreal fighting for so much with that extra chip on their shoulder. Gabe, you're right. Montreal can get this win here, and I would hate to be sitting on that bench with your advice to shoot that puck because I'm pretty sure they're going to do something like that as well.
Gabe, you saw that.
They won't.
It's
they
out of
won't.
control, though. It's out of control. Like
they should, but they won't. They should, but they won't. The Jack Eye guy in the Canadiens is pretty tough, but they're fighting for a playoff spot. It is. We'll see what they do. Actually, I don't know. Listen, the Panthers play old school bully hockey. It is what it is. You're right, though, Cam. They get away with a lot. But I'm not surprised. Like, put it this way. I'll tell you what, like, even tomorrow, you'll see. And normally I play down these conspiracies. I'm like, nah, whatever. The league doesn't, like, they're not losing sleep over who's this or that. The NHL does. We know this for a fact. And the Canadiens right now are battling with the New York Rangers to get into the playoffs. Who the hell do you think Bettman wants to make the playoffs?
Exactly.
Guy's office is 15 minutes from MSG. Like, it's obvious. Like,
that's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
What's the team from Quebec or the team from New York City? It's like, the Canadiens are up against it. They got to show up here tomorrow night. Big Dogs, plus 160 tomorrow night. Ovechkin, he's 5 goals away from passing Gretzky, 4 for the tie. I played him to score a goal when they lost to the Sabres yesterday. So, guys, he's plus 115 to score a goal tomorrow night. Yes or no, Joe? I say he does score a goal tomorrow.
Oh, yeah. On Swayman, I think he could probably get 2 on Swayman. So that's going to be an easy matchup there for the Washington Capitals. Look at that.
Joe.
Plus 8.
You're the
Big
best.
disrespect for
You get
Swayman.
two on Swayman. Swayman's all right, but the Bruins are pretty bad, and Washington's going to be in a bad mood after the way they've been playing a little bit loose. So yeah, I'm with you, Morency. I think we can get a goal for Ovechkin.
I'm just going to play him pretty much every game on the way out here. There's not that many games left. As long as we're getting, it's not a crazy number. Against Buffalo was minus 120. So against Boston on the road, plus 115 for Ovechkin to score a goal. And an update right now, the Rockets are up 31-27 on the Lakers. A lot lower scoring game than I thought it was going to be. The total in game now is 206.5. So the Rockets are up 4, and Brooklyn are up on Dallas in a meaningless game, 100-98. The college basketball crown tournament. Nebraska, for those of you that are in a place that's free enough to let you bet on it, 82-76 right now. Nebraska looking to finish this game off. Yet this is right around the number, actually. For the record, too, Arizona State were leading most of this game, but Nebraska have stormed back. Game goes over the number barely, but has now gotten there. Now that we're up to 160, 84-76 for the Huskers. We got one more game coming up here tonight that we'll get into on the other side with Dave Delano. Joe Madden, always a pleasure, Joe. Enjoy the hockey games.
Yeah, absolutely. You guys, all the best in all of your bets. Thanks for having me on tonight.
There's Joe Madden with us. We should note the UConn Paige Beckers and company. UConn Huskies up 51-38 on USC right now. 2.5 left in the third quarter of play. In-game is 17.5. They closed at 14.5.
You are banking on a guy that's got one Sweet 16 berth in his career.
How many years has he been a D1 head coach?
What, 15?
18.
This clown is walking into that tradition. Let me tell you something, bro. You just stepped into the hot seat, because if you don't turn it around quick at Villanova, they're going to boo you out of there just like they boo you out of College Park tonight.
Only on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start, so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
All right, we're to the bottom of the second inning right now with Chavez Ravine. Dodgers up 2-0 on the Atlanta Braves. Max Muncy was just on first base. There was just a double play, but I can't help but think, and I thought about this earlier in the day with these torpedo bats and stuff, that if, like, you know, Shoeless Joe Jackson or Jackie Robinson or, like, Duke Snyder or someone that played in the old days, like, watched a baseball game today, they'd be like, what the hell is this? They'd be like, what's that clock? Like, what's the pit? You know what I mean? What's the clock? why are they playing with cricket paddles at the bat right now? And the thing that's egregious to me that they've never really, people haven't complained about, that I don't understand how it's legal, is these freaking oven mitts that they wear when they're on first base. It's like you can wear a glove that can protect your hand. You don't need an oven mitt. So you got this big, long, like oven mitt. It's literally like a foot long. It's like a clown shoe. So you're sliding into first base. You're only allowed to check the runner twice. And you got a clown oven mitt on. You're sliding in. You're getting like an extra 2 feet as you slide head first in with your oven mitt. Like, honestly, I don't know. Like, we're going to use a freaking beach ball next. Like, I don't know. What more can we do here?
You're right. They're huge. They're absolutely monsters.
No, these oven mitts. It's like, guys, get a protective glove. Like, BMX guys or like motorcycle drivers. Like, oh, I don't want my foot's going to get stepped on by a cleat. It's like, yeah, I know. Fine. But wear a protective glove. Like, you're not wearing an oven mitt, Cam. Like, they wear these big oven mitts.
Oh, yeah,
they're
huge.
sliding in. It's like safe. Yeah, no wonder you're safe. You got a freaking oven mitt on. Like, I wouldn't allow it. Like, I got to sit down with, like, in the rule committee. I'd be like, listen, like, you're all fired, number one. Like, you're all done. All right, let's bring in Dave Delano right now. What's going on, Dave? What do you think of these torpedo bats, Dave?
Yeah, what's going on? You mentioned those shoeless Joe Jackson and the pitch clock. I wish I could see one of those old games somehow. They used to. You ever look at those old box scores? They used to knock those games out in 90 minutes somehow.
Yeah, they didn't need a pitch clock. They would just say, hurry the F up on their own. You know what I mean? Like, they were tough. They were like, hey, Joe, hurry up. Right? Like, guys were in and out. You're right. Those old school games were like an hour and 40 minutes. A lot of baffling stuff about this, too. I don't understand, too, because I saw a list the other day of the longest home runs ever recorded, hitting in home run history. And for the most part, bro, they were all like in the old days. You know what I mean? Like, and
you believe that though?
No, so that's what I was going to say. So that's what I was going to say too. That's how I was going to say, because there was one that was like 592 feet at the Polo Grounds or whatever, and I'm thinking, well, I'm freaking accurate. How do we know? Like in 1952, like how far? Like you guys know exactly. But the thing is, they do, because I can't question it. Because I know I've always talked about this, guys, at Olympic Stadium in Montreal. And I've been there a million, whatever. So I know the stadium. I host the shows in there. Olympic Stadium, Montreal. The longest home run ever hit there is Willie Stargell. And they actually made the seat. Like they changed, the seats were all red in the section he hit it in. They actually made the seat like gold because the ball hit that seat when he hit the home run. And it literally is like 562 feet. So you can document it. Like, all right, home plate, up to that. You know what I mean? There it is. Like it really is real, Dave. But it does baffle me. And I win money every year in the home run derby with this under 484.5 feet. Nobody can crack like 480, even at the home run derby now.
Yeah, and I don't want to. I know it's always tough when you're comparing eras, but I just always wonder. I'm wondering what those reasons are. Maybe somebody, scientist or something, could explain it. Like, how can none of these guys hit the ball farther than? No disrespect to Mickey Mantle, but you're telling me like Stanton or none of these guys can hit a ball farther than Stargell or Mickey Mantle did. I just find it hard to believe, but
I don't get it either. I don't know. Like they say Ohtani's hitting these balls 121 miles an hour off his bat. So how come it's not going 550 feet? Like he should, but it's true. I don't see Ohtani knocking him out of Dodger Stadium. And we used to see that. Like guys in the old days used to freaking crush it. Like, I don't know. I mean, like there's a lot of weird stuff going on with baseball. Like I said, like these torpedo bats and not to mention the bats are one thing. And it's kind of complicated. They are legal. It is what it is. They basically just shifted the weight into like specifically where each hitter's sweet spot is. I don't know. I look at it sort of like golf clubs. They're just sort of getting more technical and more annoying as we go along. But I'm convinced that the actual balls are juice that they're using this year. There's no way there's this many home runs. Andres Jimenez of the Toronto Blue Jays, guys. And you know, Dave, you know Jimenez, he was the Gold Glover from the Guardians, right, for years?
Yeah.
Bro, last year the guy had 9 home runs, okay? He had 9 home runs. He hit his 3rd home run on May 19th last year. He's got 3 home runs in 5 games this year.
Yeah, exactly.
Like guys are like smoking the ball. Everybody I don't know how many home runs. We'll go over it later. Like there's like, I don't know, it's like 25 home runs hitting tonight in baseball. Like every run's a home run, home run, home run, home run. Something's up here, man. right? Like it's the freaking ball because not everybody's using these torpedo bats, and a lot of other teams are. It's not just the Yankees, and they're not hitting the ball. If any team could use the torpedo bats, they gotta send a bunch of torpedoes to Seattle quick for the Mariners.
Even with all the talk of the Yankees, I thought I read that Aaron Judge actually said he's not
using it. No.
Not using it. Nope.
He had a good line, and he goes, "I'm doing pretty well without it."
Exactly. It's true.
Yeah.
What do you want them to do?
They're not illegal though. Just for the record, for people, everybody flipping out, the torpedo bats is not. They're a little exaggerated. I know, like some of the angles on Twitter and stuff, it looks like the barrel's really big, but I saw former big leaguer Sean Casey has a podcast, and I saw him today, and he had like all these bats, and he showed his bat compared, and he basically said, "This is the bat I used," and he showed the barrel, and then he showed Albert Pujols' bat, and Albert Pujols' bat was way bigger than the barrel. And he basically said, for years, you could like custom your bat, like if you want it skinny at the bottom or the top, right? So they're not, they just sort of, who it is actually. It's actually when people say this isn't rocket science, it actually is. Yeah. Well, it actually is because the creator of the actual torpedo bat actually worked for NASA. He actually was a scientist with NASA. And he's some professor with the University of Michigan. And now whatever, he basically found the physics of hitting a baseball, and where they isolated the sweet spot. That's where the torpedo actually is. It won't be illegal because baseball likes runs.
You are banking on a guy that's got one Sweet 16 berth in his career.
How many years has he been a D1 head coach?
What, I think 15?
18.
This clown is walking into that tradition. Let me tell you something, bro. You just stepped into the hot seat because if you don't turn it around quick at Villanova, they're going to boo you out of there just like they booed you out of College Park tonight.
Only on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
This is SportsRage. I am Morency. Shohei Ohtani is up at the plate right now, and like I said, he's been, I'm not going to say he's cold. He hit a home run in Tokyo. He hit another home run. He hit a home run, I think, in the first game, maybe in his first at-bat when they played at Dodger Stadium this year. He hasn't hit any since, and he hasn't really done much. He's walking a lot. Like, it's to the point now where pitchers are kind of just throwing him junk. I'm seeing here, like, junk, and he's swinging actually because he's starting to get, if he knows he's not going to get a good pitch, we'll see what he does, but he's down 0-2 here right now at the top of the order. And, he's just struck out on a pass ball, and he gets thrown out at first base. Yeah, I'm telling you guys right now, for people who are betting Ohtani props, he's not, like, totally dialed in right now. Like, he hasn't had some great at-bats over the last couple of games. And I've watched every Dodger game, pretty much like every at-bat, all right? Like, he hasn't had the good at-bats over the last 2-3 games. We got a basketball game coming up in a couple of minutes. It's supposed to tip off at 11 Eastern, but it really won't because they need 30 minutes in between games. Nebraska just finished up with Arizona State. Nebraska win 86-78, so it lands right around the number, 8.5, depending on when you get it. I played a money line parlay with Boise State and Nebraska, so we cashed that and we move on right now into the nightcap, Delano. George Washington and Georgetown, random teams playing, in this tournament, like Utah versus Butler, and now you get a weird Georgetown versus Washington State matchup, which I kind of think is cool. And, I don't know if you saw the story today, but a lot of states aren't accepting bets on this. They canceled the bets midday today because the gaming commission started flipping out about you can't take bets on this tournament. I'm able to get bets in, so I'm not affected by this. But what do you think about the nightcap tonight with the Hoyas and the Cougars?
I don't understand why they would cancel bets. I thought that's the whole point of this tournament, so we can have more advertising, make more bets.
That's why they brought Vegas, yeah. That was the point.
But I like Georgetown in this game. I mean, it's tough because you've got a lot of teams that have had underwhelming, mediocre type seasons, transfer portals over. These teams haven't played in 3 weeks, and now they're playing in a neutral site in Las Vegas. But I like Georgetown on the money line right now on plus 120 and a pretty even matchup. But Washington State's been hit heavier by the transfer portal. I'm a little bit surprised right now. Georgetown's a 2.5 point dog in this situation, but I'm not too worried about it. I was on Butler earlier today, and the line was moving the other way in favor of Utah. I still liked Butler, and even though Washington State's favored, I think the wrong team's favored here. Georgetown, they're trying to build some momentum, and I just trust the Hoyas a little bit more due to some of the transfer portal losses that Washington State suffered.
Cam, what's your pick? Washington State or Georgetown?
I'm with Delano, and you know me, I usually cheer for the Cougars, but I like Georgetown in this spot. I think they're going to show up and beat the Cougars in this game. I think there's going to be more money on Washington due to the fact that it's West and West. I don't mind Georgetown traveling. It's been a long time, and I think the Georgetown Hoyas are a little bit better. I know Washington State has a better record, but I'll take Georgetown, please. I think they're going to win this game.
Washington State had a nice They had a nice record to start the year, but it sort of caught up to them. They've got tired down the stretch. Washington State, Georgetown too, going in the right direction right now. Like you said, I don't know if Georgetown underachieving in a sense, Dave, that they've sucked for so long, right? So at least now, they're actually getting to the point where it's like, all right, we got a winning record, and let's see what we can do in this tournament. And they got a coach there that's got credibility. He upsets people, but he's got credibility. So I think they can kind of build something there. I think Georgetown, they'll be too talented for them.
So what constitutes getting into this tournament? So like DePaul, you're in. George Washington, sure. Washington State, like mid-grade, is there anything you
got in if you accepted the invite?
I think a lot of it has to do with the Fox Sports 1. I think a lot of it has to do with the Fox Sports 1 contracts.
If you were on Fox. If you're on Fox,
you didn't want to be in the NIT.
Yeah, but like a good example is like the USC Trojans are like 14 and 17. You know what I mean? Like, so like they like I said, they pretty much put anybody in this. If you're like you said, if you're on Fox and you were willing to accept an invite, man, there's so many of these new tournaments now. Today, I didn't even know what the hell I was betting on today with the women. The WBIT, and it was like Villanova and Butler in women's basketball. And I was thinking to myself, I'm like, I don't know if you should call a women's tournament WBIT. I don't think they do.
banking on a guy that's got one Sweet 16 berth in his career.
How many years has he been a D1 head coach?
What, 15?
18.
This clown is walking into that tradition. Let me tell you something, bro. You just stepped into the hot seat, because if you don't turn it around quick at Villanova, they're going to boo you out of there just like they boo you out of College Park tonight.
Only on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the game starts, so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're gonna go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's gonna help me get the job done. There is not gonna be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
This is SportsRage. Gabriel Morency. So, yeah, the crown of basketball. They really should have come up with a name that, like, rolls off the tongue a little easier. But, like, it's just a college basketball crown of the court, whatever the hell it's called. Like, so, yeah, they made a big deal about it in Vegas. And, you know, this has to be frustrating to people in Vegas that actually brought it here because they can't bet on it now. And, like, even the gaming, but the board in Nevada shut it down. Right? Out of some like technicality that since the schools, they're not like getting an appearance fee, like they're playing for like a money. It's like the TBT tournament. Like the winning school gets, I don't know, like 2 million or whatever the hell it is, $1 million. I don't know the exact amount, but it's basically, there's a payout structure like where you finish in the tournament. So somehow it's not a college event. I don't know what the hell, dude. Like it's, the whole thing is just stupid. But like a lot of these states, the same one, they don't even bet on, like, they don't let you take college player props, actually, in a lot of states, right? So there's a lot of little dumb rules, Dave, but imagine, like, Circa are, like, big on this. Like, they have the actual crown of the trophy in their lobby and stuff, and they're getting people to go down there. The reason they were getting the people to go down there is so they'd freaking bet. You know what I mean? It's like, what's the point of hosting a damn, like, what's the point of having the trophy? We can't take bets on the damn tournament. We had DraftKings, FanDuel, Circa, MGM, Bet Rivers, all voided bets on this crown stuff. Unfortunately, I'm on Bet365 in my jurisdiction. I'm able to bet it, but you know what I mean? In the modern era, it's so like state by state, province by province with this stuff. So, Dave, speaking of college basketball, we're down to the Final Four right now. All 4 1 seeds make the Final Four. The only other time this happened was 2008. And in 2008, the Final Four was in San Antonio. Here we go again. We're in San Antonio, and all 4 seeds make it. I'm very frustrated with myself that I didn't take the prop because I talked about it a lot on this show, Dave. Plus 1,700. That's what it was. 17-1 that all 4 1 seeds would make it. I did bet all the 1 seeds to win regionals and all this, so I did cash along the way, but I can't get too mad at myself because I kind of thought Auburn was going to be the one to get knocked off. Are you surprised that all 4 1 seeds made it, Dave?
I am. And honestly, the same as you, I actually picked 3 of the 4 to get to the Final Four, and I didn't like even being that chalky. And the one that I thought would get knocked off was Auburn. So, yeah, I'm a little bit surprised. I mean, just as a sports fan, and even when we come on here and talk about it, it's not a lot of fun to just pick all the favorites and all the number one seeds, even though that's what happened. But I am a little surprised. I thought Auburn, or at least I thought that there'd be one somewhat 8-9 upset, but we haven't seen it. And looking at this Final Four, it's almost hard to go against. You want to be a little more than just going against chalk, but I mean, we may just see chalk the rest of the way. I wouldn't be surprised.
I'm surprised that Duke aren't bigger favorites than they are. Is this a home run for the Dodgers? Man, another warning shot. Track, boom. Edmund, I got Edmund prop too. I would have liked to hit, but he drives in the run. The Dodgers are now up 4-0 in the bottom of the third inning on the Atlanta Braves. Yeah, I'm surprised, guys. There was 4.5s out there with Duke against Houston. I know Houston looked really good yesterday, but Duke are a wrecking crew. They're a menace to society. They're not going to go 6-0 against the spread like UConn did. They didn't cover against Arizona when they won by the 7 instead of the 9. But I think Duke are unstoppable. The other one, Dave, seems like a toss-up, man, like Florida and Auburn. I mean, you can make an argument for either team. I find Auburn to be a little bit more solid, though, than the Florida Gators are. Like we talked, and I agree with you, Dave. I thought Auburn were vulnerable. I wasn't completely sold on them, and I am high on Florida, but Florida have these lapses, man. They don't score for 5 or 6 minutes. They turn the ball over a lot. They're not the most physical team. You look at Florida, guys, they've nearly been knocked off twice in this tournament already. Like, they've been skating, like they've been dancing with the devil a lot late in games. Auburn have been more systematic about this. Who are you leaning with, Florida or Auburn, Dave?
Well, I picked the Gators to win the whole thing before because I didn't want to I wanted to do more than just pick Duke. Although right now, even though I picked the Gators to win this whole thing, I do think that Duke is going to win this tournament. But I think Florida's going to win. I think I like Florida in this Final Four matchup, and I like Duke to cover. And I think we're going to see a Florida and Duke championship. I picked Florida to win before the tournament started. I know it at plus 290, just like probably would want to stick with that. But I think that Duke's going to win this whole thing. But I do think Florida's going to get by Auburn. I'm not going to get too caught up in just what we've seen recently. It's going to be a close game. I mean, either way. I mean, it's, these two teams played 10 times on a neutral floor. I think they both win 5. So it just depends.
I know. It could be 5-5. Yeah.
But I think it's going to be Florida. I think going Florida Duke for the final with Duke winning.
Cam, what's your pick for Auburn and Florida?
I like Auburn to beat Florida, and I like Duke. And we talked about this before. I have Duke to win it all. It's interesting you mentioned that, Gabe. On one of my books on FanDuel, Duke is 4.5, which is shocking to me because most places it's 5 out there. And I'm with you. I think it could be like 5.5 or 6. Duke has been that good. Houston's defense was impeccable, but they're playing a Duke team that could beat you so many different ways. I think we got an Auburn-Duke final.
Man, the Duke Blue Devils are a deep basketball team. I saw numbers here earlier in the day, but for whatever reason, they're not up right now. And it was championship game numbers, actually. So for Monday, like the hypothetical matchups, should have saved it. I looked at it. I was like, oh, I'll get to that later. But here we go. All right, so on Monday night, these are the potential point spreads. The Duke Blue Devils will be 4.5-point favorites over the Florida Gators. And the Duke Blue Devils would be 5.5-point favorites over the Auburn Tigers. Auburn would be a 1.5-point underdog against Houston. Florida would be a 1.5-point favorite against Houston. And like I said, Duke 4.5 or 5.5 point favorites. But I think Duke are the ones that are going to end up cutting down the nets. And I played a parlay, guys. Duke to win the men's and UConn to win the women's at plus 269. And the UConn women are on the verge of advancing right now. They're about to beat USC as we speak. Dave, before we get you out of here, what do you think about the woman? Paige Beckers is just unstoppable right now. I think the biggest, listen, when Juju Watkins got hurt, that sort of knocked USC out of the mix. South Carolina are their biggest threat, and this isn't the best South Carolina team. It seems like UConn are due for a championship. They got the best player in the country. They're rolling right now. They're winning by a margin. I think UConn win. What do you think, Dave?
I agree. You said when Juju went down, that changed a lot of things. South Carolina, I think, does not match up well with UConn. And UConn, number one, I think, team right now overall in women's college basketball. When you look at how well they play on both sides of the ball, we pretty much know. I'm not going to say no, but it's no as much as we can at this point that Duke's men should win this. I think that your parlay is a great way to get good value on this. So I can't disagree with you there. As much as I'd like to, I can't.
And for the record, so they're rolling right now. Well, Paige Beckers has accounted for 34 of 38 UConn's points in the fourth quarter. Like, she's just unbelievable. And you know what? They're very similar, actually, UConn women and the Duke men, in that Paige Beckers puts up big numbers, yet others get theirs too. Like, she's not a ball hog. It's not just all about her. She's just that good. Dave Delano, hitthepick.com. Get Sports Strong on X. Dave, it's always a pleasure, my man.
Thanks so much. You have a great night.
So my team didn't win this weekend, but I still did with this app that's taking over the game. Sports Millions Pick'em lets you make quick and easy predictions. Pick your favorite players, go higher or lower, and you can still win big even if your team loses. Plus, the multiplier is insane. With just a few picks, you can win big money. So get on it. They've got a welcome bonus to help you start off your winning streak.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun. I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity. I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this once? Oh, Donnie, you've got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
This is SportsRage. I am Morency. As great as UConn are, we were talking about how I think they're going to win the championship. USC are covering right now, actually. Kind of frustrating, to be honest. UConn were up bigger, but they took the pedal off the metal late here. There's a minute and a half left, and they only have a 10-point lead. They ended up closing as 14.5-point favorites in this game. Washington State are up 10-6 early on Georgetown. They've only played 3 minutes. These games in Vegas have been pretty much track meets. I always tell you guys this. When you get into these tournaments, not the NCAA tournament, right, March Madness, they're playing for real. And the NIT is kind of serious once they get into the Final Four. But earlier in the NIT, we saw like track meets. You're seeing in this crown of the court stuff in Vegas, track meets. Why is that? Coaches are not going to be jerks now at this time of the year, right? They're going to lose players. Like, you got the transfer portal and stuff like that. So it's really like, hey, kid, go up there and have fun, bomb some threes, and let's see what happens, right? So it's almost like a bowl game for teams. Let's run our trick plays. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. And you know what I mean? It's a little bit different. Like, once they get into the Final Fours of these tournaments and they want the banner, they want the prize money, it'll change a little bit. But we're seeing right now, even Georgetown and Washington State in-game total 166.5 right now, guys. But I would hold off and let it dip a little bit. So it's a little bit high. Rockets and Lakers are tied at 48 at the half. In-game total closed. The total closed at 226.5. In-game right now is 211.5. LA Lakers -3.5 right now. UConn up by 12 with a minute and a half left. Let's bring in George Kurtz to get his thoughts on all of this, as George has a hot take about Juju Watkins' injury and how it's going to affect the USC Trojans' chances in the women's tournament. George, what's your take?
Yeah, hey, I knew she got hurt, right? I think this happened last week.
Oh, you do? You heard about that, so you know who she is.
Yeah. It was all over Twitter, all over X. So, yeah, I did see she got hurt. I wasn't listening. Was it ACL or an ankle? One of those two, I'm sure.
Yeah, I think she tore ACL, the poor girl. She had it all going on, too. Like, she's scoring 1 million points a game. But I was just busting your balls, Kurtz. What are you watching right now? The Dodgers and the Braves, or the Sacramento Athletics and the Cubs?
I have got on all the baseball games and the 2 hockey games. So Dodgers and Braves are on the big screen. How about that? That makes you feel any better. Right now I'm sweating out the overtime between Colorado and Calgary. As I'm sure you already know, I have a parlay with Colorado and the Dallas Stars.
Wow. I didn't even realize that the Calgary Flames had come back.
They came back, yep.
2-2 right now in overtime. Showing a lot of heart, this team.
They sure are. I was wrong. I thought Colorado would win that game by extend, but let's give the Flames a lot of credit, man, to come back down 2, and they can maybe steal. At least they get a point. So they need to get all the points. We talked about how hot the Blues are. Probably nobody's going to catch them, but I got to give the Flames a lot of credit. This team has never quit this year.
They're not quitting, Kurtz, but the Blues aren't losing, right? And the Blues are winning so much. This would be my hot take right now. The Blues are going to play themselves out of the wild card spot. I think the Blues will play themselves. I think the Oilers are going to be the ones to fall. I know the Oilers were lucky. Not lucky. They won, but Leon Draisaitl is unbelievable. But Draisaitl got his 50th. They won at Calgary the other night. But I think the Oilers are in trouble. They're not going to miss the playoffs, George, but I think that the Blues are going to keep on winning. They're only 2 points out right now of actually being not in the wild card anymore, and I think it's going to happen. I don't think they're going to they're not going to stop. They got 7 games left. I think the streak continues for them.
They're playing very well. We've seen this before with the Blues. I mean, it's amazing. I mean, Bennington, all right, they won the 4 Nations, but, Bennington played well, but not great. But since then, it seems like he has all the confidence in the world here, all right? So he's playing great. They're getting goal scoring from Kyrou, Neighbors, Holloway, right? He's the ex-Oiler, right? The guy they stole from Edmonton, sort of there. Bushnevich. I mean, this is an interesting team, and they're doing this without Parayko. I mean, he got hurt, 2-3 weeks ago, and yet they're still winning here. So they're a dangerous, dangerous team. Now, I wonder this, though, Gabe. They're getting hot at some of the wrong time. I mean, playoffs are still 3 weeks away here. They may cool off by the time round 1 starts.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. I get that argument, but I'd rather be hot than not right now. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's a problem. I know what you mean, though. You get these teams, right? It's like, wow, are we really going to win 30 out of the next 40 games type of deal? But yeah, I know. I mean, they just sort of have to look at it like this. It'll really matter who they play, right, when they end up in the playoffs here. But they're going to be a tough out. But you know what I mean? They're just proving you don't need star players. They're a grittier team. How about this? The Senators are 29-6 when they score first this year. I'm just looking for I was looking for a number about the St. Louis Blues and their success that they've been on since the 4 Nations. Yeah, it's unbelievable. Here's another one too. You want to know why the Canucks are not going to make the playoffs this year? The Canucks have lost an NHL worst 8 games when leading by 3 or more goals over the past 3 seasons.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, not just this year. Imagine 8 games this year. It'd be like, wow.
That'd be a problem. That'd be a problem.
You can relate as an Islander fan, Kurtz. The Canucks are really bad at this, bro. The Canucks always have a 2-0 lead every night. And, you check back in an hour later, it's like, oh, they're losing 6-4, huh? Like, it's crazy with the Canucks.
Yeah, with the Islanders, they just have a lead in the third period, then choke. And it's been going on for years with the Islanders as well, probably more than 3 here. But like I said, St. Louis is hot right now. They would play, they're in the 8th, so they would play Winnipeg round 1. I'm sure Winnipeg is real thrilled about that, right? A team that has a lot of problems in the first round of the playoffs here. They're only a point behind Minnesota, which would put them up against Vegas right now in the playoffs, right?
Yeah. You know what, though? Winnipeg's worst nightmare. I would almost rather play the Oilers than the Blues. But if you're Winnipeg, I can almost see it happening. Like I said, I think the Oilers are going to be the ones that are going to end up like as the last wild card team. And then the Winnipeg Jets are going to be like, oh, God, we're going to play the Oilers in the first round. It'll be a big-time Canadian war.
It'd be hard for the Oilers to drop out, though. They've got 2 games in hand on Minnesota and still a point ahead. So I don't know if they'll drop. So Minnesota could catch, I guess St. Louis could catch them as well, but they got games in hand.
Yeah, you're right. Okay, but let's say St. Louis passed them, but you're right then. Let's say Edmonton is the second wild card team, not the bottom one. You know what I mean?
Well, Edmonton, somebody in the Pacific would have to pass them. Top 3 in each division. So it's not St. Louis and Minnesota. Somebody like Vancouver would have to pass them or Calgary.
Good luck.
You are banking on a guy that's got 1 Sweet 16 berth in his career.
How many years has he been a D1 head coach?
What, 15?
18.
This clown is walking into that tradition. Let me tell you something, bro. You just stepped into the hot seat because if you don't turn it around quick at Villanova, they're going to boo you out of there just like they boo you out of College Park tonight.
Only on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
This is SportsRage. I am Morency. Sirius XM Channel 159, SportsGrid Radio and Television Network. UConn are putting the finishing touches on USC right now, but it looks like USC are going to cover the point spread. The USC are not tapping out late, though. So it's been bouncing around 10, 11. It's up to 13 right now. So suddenly UConn are in potential cover territory. The USC coach is like calling timeout still, even though she's down 13. We'll see if she just like plays this to the final whistle or not. We'll keep her eye on this. Paige Beckers, man, unbelievable. 90% at the free throw line. This girl is just money. Doesn't miss. Going to be the number 1 pick in the WNBA draft, obviously, and the team with the number 1 pick, the Dallas Wings, have the number 1 pick in the WNBA draft. So she's going to be she's going to Dallas. I was wondering about that. I was thinking, man, if she ended up on LA with Cameron Brink, that would be a great combination. But Dallas have the number 1 pick. She's going to go to the Dallas Wings. So I should have known, George, and asked you who you want. You're Captain Chuck. You weren't going to be on the Calgary Flames in Colorado. What happened? What was the final score?
They wanted to shoot out 1 goal to nothing. The Chushkin hit the post at the end here, so Colorado didn't score. Just frustrating. Frustrating as all. I mean, you throw out Colton, Coyle, and the Chushkin as your shootout shooters? Where's McCarr? Where's Nathan McKinnon here? I mean, what are we doing? Do we not care?
What are we doing? What are we doing? I'm with you, George. See, that's what I get when I play dogs. I play them. But Gabe, they're up 2-0 too. You don't see Colorado blow leads.
Yeah.
We talk about the Canucks, but that's it's kind of shocking too. At home, good call. Like, wow.
This game was a win too. After they were up 2-0. This game's over. I can move on.
Never a win until it's over.
Never easy.
I'm not the biggest Avs backer and fan. Something about them. I don't trust them to get to the Stanley Cup. I don't think they're going to get out of the West.
I don't know if they're going to get out of the first round.
Yeah, well, we'll see. I mean, it's a bloodbath. Speaking of the Dallas Stars, Dallas and Seattle scored 3 goals in the first 5 minutes of this hockey game, and I bet the under 6.5, and I'm like, oh, that's just great. And the total went up to 8.5, but I said I just gave up on it and moved on. It's still 2-1 right now, right? They haven't scored since. Who you on in this game, Kurtz?
Well, I had Dallas in the second half of a parlay, so that doesn't matter anymore. I'm also on them on the goal line. And did Robertson score? I have Robertson anytime goal. I forgot to check that. Did he score?
Oh,
no, he hasn't scored yet. So it's Duchesne and Johnson have scored. So we still got a couple of bets on Dallas.
You had to ask.
USC aren't going away. USC really are playing to the final whistle. They just hit a 3 with 28 seconds left to cut the lead to 10. So it looks like the USC Trojans are going to cover the number. Closed at 14.5, was 13.5 all day. Ended up closing at 14.5. But UConn with a 10-point lead with 28 seconds left. Second half has started at the Crip. Actually, Page is going to the free throw line again right now. Second half has started. They've been close all night. 67-66 for the Rockets right now over the Lakers. And cross town right now, although actually not, just sort of up the hill, to be honest. The Dodgers are up 4-0. And George, you said you're watching a Dodger game. I'm assuming you're on the Dodgers tonight.
Oh, yeah. I don't know how you pick Atlanta anytime soon until they prove they can start hitting the ball. They get shut out again tonight. They got runners on first and second right now with 2 outs. But, the Atlanta Braves, I mean, Profile got suspended today. Lopez goes on the IL. I mean, for a team that should be – they should be able to survive these problems. Right now, they can't hit their way out of a paper bag. So they're struggling tonight. But it's just crazy how good the Dodgers are. Glasnow's your 5th starter or whatever, 4th starter. This is nuts.
Yeah, you imagine that the Dodgers are 5-0 and Glasnow hasn't pitched yet?
Exactly.
It's not even fair.
I got to be honest. I've watched every game this year the Dodgers have played. Glasnow looks like the best one so far. Like, this is the best pitcher performance. This is the best pitcher performance. Like Yamamoto's good. Yamamoto's sort of like, one thing with Yamamoto, he's freaking consistent. He gives up 2 runs all the time. Like, Yamamoto will give up 2 runs in the first inning, and then it just mows you down after, or whatever. He'll cruise until the 5th. He'll give up 2 runs. Like, Yamamoto's like, listen, he's only going to give up a run or 2, right? He's really good. We could hit Sasaki's issues in a minute. And then you get into like Glasnow's been muddy tonight, man. Like, he's like, from his first pitch, like, he's got some nasty stuff. How many strikeouts is he up to?
25 plus starts, he's a Cy Young guy. If he can make 25 plus, he is that good. He can't stay healthy. That's his only problem.
Yeah, we'll see if the Dodgers are going to baby him this year, though, right? It could help him. Right, it could help him.
banking on a guy that's got one Sweet 16 berth in his career.
How many years has he been a D1 head coach?
What, 15?
18.
This clown is walking into that tradition. Let me tell you something, bro. You just stepped into the hot seat, because if you don't turn it around quick at Villanova, they're going to boo you out of there just like they boo you out of College Park tonight.
Only on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start, so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're gonna go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's gonna help me get the job done. There is not gonna be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Man, Mookie Betts is unbelievable. He just lined out, actually. I thought it was going to drop in there, but he didn't. But what's amazing about Mookie is this guy's hitting. He hit a home run the other day, guys. He weighed 154 pounds. like literally. He weighed 154 pounds. Like after the other game on Saturday night, he said he's up to 160 now. Right? And he goes, whatever. He goes, yeah, it's a 160-pound home run. And he's putting him over the wall. I just saw him right now. Like, man, he looks tiny right now. Like, small. He's the type of dude, like, if you saw on the street, you'd be like, no way that guy's one of the best baseball players in the league. Like, you know what I mean? He does, especially how he looks now. He's not a big guy to begin with. But, guys, he got down to 154 pounds. It's almost like Spud Webb hitting home runs, like in big league baseball. Like, it's just weird. They're like, yeah, I lost all this weight, but don't worry about it. And he still plays well. Like, it's not like, oh, he's sick, he's going to be better in 2 weeks. It's like, no, he's good. Like, he's smaller, but he's good. Like, it's just bizarre. It's like mini Mookie out there. I just looked at him like, man, he looks tiny suddenly. 4-0 there. The Cubs and the Athletics, the total was 8.5. So we were wondering about this ballpark. It is windy as hell there. I thought it was blowing in, but nevertheless, we're up to 10 runs right now in this game. 7-3 for the Cubbies right now. All right, I got some best of X stuff I want to get to. We'll get to some more picks after, but there's all this new ballpark food out there right now. Coastal Carolina football team getting in on this, yet they have an interesting promotion coming up, and I'd say that this is probably the best promotion that any team could possibly have. Roll it.
What's up, boss?
Hey, how's it going?
Good. What's the damage?
Free.
Free. Well, what about for this?
Free as well.
Free.
All of it free. You want some nachos?
Yeah.
Free too.
All free.
All free.
Free. Can I get 50 of these?
Yeah.
Free.
Free.
What about a drink?
All of it free.
Free.
Have 2 drinks.
Drinks?
And
all
a hot
free?
dog. Yeah.
Hot dog's free too?
All free. There you go.
Free.
Free.
Sweet.
That's right, Teal Nation. This fall in Brooks Stadium, every fan, every game, always free. Free concessions, popcorn, nachos, hot dog, fountain drinks, and water for every fan this fall. Come out to Brooks Stadium, get your tickets now, and cheer on the Shots. Go Shots.
All right. How about that, huh? Free everything. And you know what? For the record, they said
Not much.
$20.
25,
15, 20, but
exactly.
$25 or something, George?
Is parking $500?
They're no, like that's what I was thinking too. Like, see, George, you're a New Yorker, so you're like, what's the catch, huh? What's the catch?
Yeah.
Where's the small print?
Something doesn't make sense. I mean,
can I have 50 hot dogs? Sure.
No, they said actually
Like,
for the
there's gotta
record,
be
they said within moderation. They said like it'll be
Yeah.
up to the like you can't just you can't abuse them.
No. You can't abuse them. You have 20 nachos, 50 hot dogs, 30 fountain drink. What? I think it's $18.
No, that's got to be one at a time, but you can go back after. You know what I'm saying? Like,
That's what they do at the all-you-can-eat wing place game.
how
They
much can you
start
really
off,
eat
and then after
anyway?
that,
So
they'll
you had the
give you four.
nachos, couple of I don't know
Yeah.
hot dogs. You could probably hit them pretty hard, actually.
Oh, big time.
You know, you'd say, give me 6 hot dogs, give me the nachos. I would stock up once when I showed up, but if there's, I don't know, they must have like a donation bin or something, Kurt's there. You know what I mean? And if you want to donate to the program, the school, or so the football team, scan your
George is
card
right.
here. You know what I mean?
Come on, Gabe.
I
What's
don't want to
the
know where
catch?
they're getting their
'Cause
food
there's-
from.
They're the Coastal Carolina Chanticleers. The tickets are $15 and $20, like you said.
Well, they're
Like,
clearly
there's
desperate,
no
Ken, to
way.
get people to come to the game. Like, yeah,
Oh, I
they're
wish
doing
we were
this. Clearly,
there.
attendance is down.
Free. That was
It's
giving it
free.
away. Unbelievable. Wow.
I want
you
free
said it.
alcohol too. Imagine that, free booze.
Yeah, that was the best.
Free
Well,
booze,
now
free
you have
food. I'd be
water.
like, all right, I'm in. I'll get season
That'd be a
tickets
fun
and
night
fly
in the
in. It'll be
stands.
worth it.
Yeah, you're telling me. That's wow. Unreal.
You're going to see next year at Coastal Carolina games, you're going to only be fat people at the games. It's going to be like big, like comic book dudes waiting in line to get into the stands.
Comic book dudes with ponchos
Their
on
83rd
board.
hot dog.
Yeah, they're not even football fans, Cam. They're just going to get word's going to get out. Seriously, think about that. It's going to be home. Like seriously, if you're homeless, why not go to the Coastal game? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Get enough
There's
change,
gotta be
get
a
the
catch,
ticket.
though. There's got to be a catch, Morency, because I do all you can eat wings and stuff, and they give you the first batch, and then they do it into. They only bring you out like 3 or 4 after that, and just to really piss you off, and then they take their time too to get you really angry and make you stew. That's the old restaurant move. There is a catch. You have to sit there and
I'm
spend a
calling it.
lot of time there. That's the
I'm
problem.
calling it right now, and I said too, this promo will not last long. Dude, a bunch of campus, these kids are going to start throwing hot dogs at people and stuff because they didn't pay for them.
That's a good point too.
Very true.
It's going to be food fights and stuff, Cam. They didn't pay for it, bro. Food fight. They didn't pay.
They come in liquored up, and next thing you know, yeah, they're chucking hot dogs at people and it's like fountain drinks.
I would
yeah, you're
warn
right.
the kids when they come in, you throw anything, I swear to God, we're going to tase you so hard, punk. Like, you know what I mean? Like, enjoy the food. Don't throw it. They have to put a sign up. Like, because that's what happened. Remember with the Phillies? Although the Phillies are just greedy because the Phillies had $2 hot dog night and they raised it to, remember we talked about this last year. Yeah. They raised it to $5, right? Because they said, yeah, at $2 nights, people just throw them at each other and it causes fights. They said if you have to pay $5 for it, you won't throw it as much. So if you're giving away people free food, they're going to throw it. Hell, I would throw it. I'd be all pissed off they didn't cover and stuff. I'd be like, son of a bitch. I'd throw the nachos.
You guys suck.
Just throw the nachos down. Give me some more
right,
nachos.
though.
I want to throw
I'm sorry.
You're throwing cheese at the opposing team's QB. You know what I mean? Like,
there's something going on, Morency. You said it. Donation box, something. You can't give away free concessions. I'm sorry. I don't care if it's Coastal Carolina. There's something going on here. There has to be.
where are they getting these hot dogs from? Fat Tony camps, like the milk. It's rat milk. Like, where are these hot dogs, anyways?
Did they say milk? Milk. That's right.
Hot dogs. I
Milk.
want to see the fine print. Like, so you guys give it away for free, huh? Like, so where are you getting this food? You're gonna find out it's from some factory in North Carolina from stale food.
To begin with. Yeah, these Coastal Carolina hot dogs. That's not right.
Go shots.
It's free.
Yeah, they probably fired all the food police here, so there's nobody watching this stuff. So yeah, no,
that was amazing.
That's so watered down too. I can just imagine.
Oh yeah, George, that's not a real Pepsi there. It's
well, they made a point. I like how they made a point of saying fountain soda. Smart move. Yeah, when I imagine coming in, give me 6 bottles of Coke. George, you'd have a big paradise. Free Pepsi all game.
Oh, listen, get a nice hot day. Nice. I would enjoy it. I really would enjoy it, by the way. I would, hey, you want to give me free food? That's what costs the most at a ballpark, right? It's not really the ticket that's the problem. It's generally, well, parking nowadays is $50 too, but it's all the food you want to eat. If you're going to go for a 9-inning game, you're going to bring a family, forget about it.
It'll help their attendance, man. Free food, like you just said, families will go. Why wouldn't you? Stock up.
It'll absolutely help the attendance.
Yeah, Cam would be stuffing his pockets.
I
can't
would
see
be.
there's got to be a
Dave.
catch somewhere, though.
If I could.
Gotta be a catch.
But I will say this though. I saw the nachos. You notice like there's no like the meats on them and the peppers and stuff. It's basic nachos with maybe a little squeeze of that artificial cheese. Like they're not going to give you the full like spread.
No, you get
come on.
You get
now. We're not
cheese and
stupid.
chips.
Yeah, it's like cheese in a little ladle. Here you go, buddy. Don't come back.
Done next.
I don't know where you found this stuff. Free food at a sporting event. I don't care where it is. That's unheard of. Okay,
I don't
good for
anticipate
them.
Michigan or Notre Dame doing this anytime soon.
No.
Yeah, it could be like, God, no. Like,
No,
you know what I mean?
never.
We have 110,000 people here. We're making $18 million every Saturday from concessions. No, we're not giving anything away. Yeah, Coastal Carolina clearly desperate. He's got other teams are like pulling off big NIL deals with hot prospects. These guys are come on down. We got free nachos.
Exactly.
We got some other good best effects on the other side, including the new stadium in Sacramento where the A's are playing. Although it's technically not a new stadium, really, but they really went all out on this. We'll show you the VIP experience that the media will live covering the Sacramento Athletics this year. And the game has gone over the number already, so 1-0 to the over in this new stadium.
You are banking on a guy that's got one Sweet 16 berth in his career.
How many years has he been a D1 head coach?
What, 15?
18.
This clown is walking into that tradition. Let me tell you something, bro. You just stepped into the hot seat because if you don't turn it around quick at Villanova, they're going to boo you out of there just like they boo you out of College Park tonight.
Only on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the game starts so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're gonna go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's gonna help me get the job done. There is not gonna be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
This is SportsRage. I am Morency, the pistol players, the hustlers, the people that bust them, everybody else in between. So the Dodgers are rolling. Started the season off 5-0, which, by baseball standards, pretty good. It's not easy. And I don't know if you saw this, Kurtz, but the last defending champion to start the season 5-0, 1985 only, Detroit Tigers. So, normally, so it is kind of a unique start for the Dodgers. And the Dodgers, you won't like this, Kurtz. The last time the Dodgers started the season 4-0 was 1981. They won the World Series that year. I would still say the Phillies are a threat. San Diego are playing good baseball, but the Dodgers are they're even better than like people thought they were going to be. Like when you watch them play, you're like, damn, these guys are good. And it's not just like media hype or us. I've seen a lot of former players talking about him recently. I saw one guy, like I was watching, it'll pop up my name. It'll pop up who he was. Guy played in the big leagues for a long time. He recently retired. He basically said, it's not crazy to say that they could be the best team ever. He goes, we'll see how it plays out, but he goes, I think they can win 120 games. What do you think?
Absolutely. We've talked about this before. They absolutely can. And you think about it so far. All right, they're probably going to win tonight, right? They're up 5-0 here, so they'll be 6-0. They've done this. Mookie Betts has missed 3 games. Freeman's missed, I think, 3 games now. They've gotten, 2 good starts? I mean, Sasaki's been terrible. All right, Yamamoto's been solid. But they're not even playing anywhere near full strength yet. I mean, that's what's crazy. And it looked like they were toying with the Tigers. We'll play. They're playing with their food for a couple of innings. Oh, fine. We'll take care of you in the late innings here. So, listen, I'm over there 103.5. You talked me into betting 109.5. Am I shocked they set the record? No. Could somebody beat them in a 5-game series or a 7-game series? Sure. Weird things can happen here. But they're the best team in baseball. I mean, that's what everybody has to aim to try and beat the Dodgers right now. They're the team you're trying to beat.
All right, quick thing here. We'll get back to hockey, then we'll get to the best of X. But as far as this baseball is concerned, I thought Sasaki, and let's get to, I don't know if you guys have it, the Rookie of the Year odds. I thought Sasaki coming into this, I'm like, well, he's going to light it up and, he's going to rack up a bunch of strikeouts. He's going to be on the best team. He's going to win Rookie of the Year. Now, he struggled through the first 2 starts. He's got control issues. He's not getting lit up. He can't throw it over the plate, right? So he's got massive control issues right now. I'm not overly panicked about it. He's 23. He's moved to a new country, a new continent. He's dealing, He's got to get acclimated to this. His first start, a lot of pressure in Japan, and there was a ton of pressure his first start in LA. I think when he gets on the road, I think he'll settle down a bit. So I'm not in a full-out panic, but what about the Rookie of the Year now in the National League, Kurtz? What do you think about this race? Because I watch him play tonight. Dylan Cruz is struggling right now too, right? Who's the Rookie of the Year in the National League?
Probably a little early to worry about the Rookie of the Year. And listen, Sasaki will be fine. I have no doubt about that. What you said, everything you said is true. His fastball is there. And the problem is his secondary stuff. Anything off speed, he can't throw it for a strike, and Major League pitchers are going to spin on it now. They're not going to swing at it until you can throw it for a strike, so they'll just sit on your fastball. So that's going to be that's really his problem. But I think he'll be fine as well here. And I don't think he's out of the running for Rookie of the Year. Not at 2 starts. All right, so if he turns around for the next 25, 26 starts.
You get good value now, though, because he went from like plus 280 to plus 500 now suddenly, just like that.
Listen, there's a chance that the Rookie of the Year is not in Major League Baseball right now. They're still in the minor leagues. Right, we'll wait for that guy to get called up once the Super 2 goes away, and once they can, they get that extra year, which is going to happen over the next couple of weeks and next couple of months. So that's the way baseball is played right now. You don't need to start from day one to win Rookie of the Year. We all assumed it would be Sasaki because of the hype, the pub. And like I said, I don't count him out. And you're right. Yeah, if you still believe, go out and get him. He will turn it around. I don't know when, but he will turn it around. And this is the great thing about the Dodgers again. They can afford to let him wait and figure it out. Oh, you pitched 3 innings today. Oh, you'll pitch, 4 the next day. This could be a spring training for him for the next 2 months. It doesn't matter to them. It's all about getting ready for the playoffs here, so they can baby him for quite a while to get him up to speed.
We're going to see what Dustin May has. He hasn't pitched in a while. I'm curious to see that. You got Kershaw around the corner as well. Scherzer gets hurt in his first start with the Jays. What a shock. Right away. It's like, that's great. Like, you know what I mean?
Oh, it's so
for a guy
sad
who gets hurt all the time, he talks a lot.
He does. I was talking to Griff too, Gabe, who's like, he does his own thing now, but he said like they met, Scherzer was on the computer before the game, like really scouting guys out and doing that and like doing his due diligence. Then he goes out there and he gets hurt, right? It's just like, it's so frustrating. We knew this could happen, but that's the whole thing. You know what? The Jays are just one of those teams, Gabe. It's time, like they're going to have some pitching problems and injuries, so they got to hit. It's one of those things you got like, Bo Bichette's off to a nice start. Vladimir Guerrero, he played well today. You talked about Jimenez. He's been a very pleasant surprise. So it's up to the Blue Jays to be more like the Yankees early and score runs to help out the pitching. Nobody's going to feel sorry for you. Orioles got problems. Yankees got guys beat up. The Jays are beat up. That's right out of the gate. All these guys are hurt right now. Question I was going to ask you guys about the Twins. They're 0-4. It's early in the season, but that's very concerning, getting their asses kicked by the White Sox and the way they've lost to the Cardinals. Not a great start for Minnesota.
No, it isn't, obviously. Listen, these teams, normally you don't panic in baseball, but everyone's got a shorter attention span than ever before. So every year it just sort of gets more, the window gets tighter. People won't panic. I remember Frank Robinson told me that baseball is not real until June, right? He said, like, if someone's struggling in the first month of the season, he doesn't panic about it. He said, you give him the second month through May. And then he goes, once you get into June, it's almost like the Parcells line. You are who you are. He goes, once you get into June in the first 2 months, he goes, if you're not, you know what I mean? Like, you can start, he goes, I'll know what the team is after 2 months. Like, you can sort of, you know, so we're way too early right now, but teams will panic early, man. Like, you know what I mean? But it's critical the Jays win early because they are a team that if things go their way, they can have a very good year. If things don't go their way, you know, people get fired, traded, blown up, like whatever. So it's very volatile. If they get sort of things going early and get some positivity going, it'll really be important for them. So being 3-2 after 5, hey, it's only 3-2, but they're not 0-5. So just keep chipping away for the Blue Jays. Bowden Francis looked great again today. This kid's unbelievable. You know, he doesn't, not overpowering stuff at all. All he does is just throw it over the plate. You hit it, and he's confident with it. It's that old school, I'll just throw strikes. And you're going to have to swing at him. Right? So he doesn't overpower you at all, this guy.
You are banking on a guy that's got one Sweet 16 berth in his career.
How many years has he been a D1 head coach?
What, I think 15?
18.
This clown is walking into that tradition. Let me tell you something, bro. You just stepped into the hot seat because if you don't turn it around quick at Villanova, they're going to boo you out of there just like they boo you out of College Park tonight.
Only on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
This is SportsRage. I am Morency, the pits, the players, the hustlers, the people that bust them, and everybody else in between. I just switched to the Laker game, and the first thing I see is like a large rack behind the rack. A large rack sitting courtside under the rack in LA. It's like first thing, I'm like, oh, there's a girl in white there. Oh, my God. Like there's no way every player doesn't notice, too. Like, you know, you look early in the game once, and you got, all right, I'm going to move on after, and it is what it is. Like, I sat courtside in the Laker game. It is funny seeing the players courtside. Like, the Raptors did not listen to Nick Nurse at all, like during the timeouts, like at all. Like they were all looking in the crowd. They were talking to like girls like near the bench and stuff. Like it's funny. Like there's a whole little world like behind the bench at these NBA games. Like even I was like, I had big money on the game. And I remember I looked over at Jakob Poeltl and I told him, focus, bro, focus. Like I was right behind the bench. Like I was trying to coach them because I realized, I remember I was like, this is before Nick Nurse got, it was when the wheels were starting to fall off for him. And I knew right then and there, I was like, wow, what, you know what I mean? When you watch a team on TV, like we all think we know them and stuff, right? Oh, you watch every game, you think you know them. Like you watch every inning of every pitch of every Yankee game, Kurtz, right? But it's not the same as if you were in the clubhouse, right? Or like you were sitting like over the dugout every game, right? And you hear like you can see how like they actually are as a team, especially in the NBA. You sit around the bench, man. You can really like, dude, look at the Memphis Grizzlies. These guys are like fighting on the bench all the time now. Right, like, you know what I mean? Like, an NBA bench, man, like, these coaches have a hell of a job trying to keep it together. All right, let's do a couple of quick best of X's here, Tommy, on the way out. We got these helmets that are super cool. Let's roll it. Let's go. All right, this is from a Twitter handle I don't want to take credit for, but Roberto Clemente, not the real Roberto Clemente, obviously, but big Roberto Clemente, baseball fan on Twitter. Roberto Clemente was at 2121 on X. I reposted them, but he did if baseball teams were football helmets. We had to give some love to the Expos here. So the Expo one looks very good. That Seattle one would be a badass football helmet. Kind of looks like San Jose State as it is, but I figured I'd get one for you in there, Kurtz. What do you think, Kurtz? The Yankees. You want to get look good on your set, a Yankee football helmet.
Looks like the old the Deion Sanders Falcon helmet, right? The black with the Falcon reminds me of that. Yeah, the Macho one reminds me of the old Houston Oilers teams.
All right, we got all right. This is for our boy Tommy, who's a San Diego fan. You got the San Diego one, nice looking helmet. Socks on black just looks good. Yeah, I didn't approve of putting the Washington Nationals in this thing.
Nationals,
that was put in
you
by them.
hit the bricks there, W. You're gone. I like that.
Yeah, I didn't approve of that one.
Royals?
The Royals one is nice. And that Marlin one on a football helmet would be pretty cool. Looks like an arena football league team, but XFL.
Surprisingly sharp, Gabe. I like that Marlins one.
It's better on a football helmet than it is on a baseball hat.
I agree. Put the Marlins in a football helmet. Get rid of these
It's like,
guys.
Oh, that's a pretty cool logo you guys got, actually. Yeah, on baseball, it's like,
wow, it looks wicked. Those three colors, like it looks so much better. That's actually crazy.
The Reds is pretty classic. The Reds looks good.
Yeah.
St. Louis too. All three of those
Chicago Bears. It's Chicago Bears but it's red. See, it's the same C.
It's the same thing. It's the same thing.
It's the C. Detroit's nice. St. Louis, meh.
I never realized that the C is the same.
Yeah, it's the
Reds
Bears.
have been around longer. The Bears ripped them off.
You're damn right they did.
They ripped their C off.
That's right. It's the special C.
They ripped their C off. All right, last
That
one,
Marlins
not
good.
best of X, but Gab, I'll ask you quick, then George. MVP, the Hart Trophy of the National Hockey. Actually, sorry, get this one up. Yeah, sorry, Tommy, we got to show. This is Sacramento. That's their media center.
It's where you sign your scorecard in golf. It's like a tent.
That's the media center. That's
backyard.
That's where they're holding their press conferences. I'm not joking. Look how they're all squeezed in. Plus, like the wind was blowing earlier, and like the roof, it's like a tent, like it was going to blow away.
Oh God!
Like guys, they had 2 years. They knew they were going to Sacramento. This is the best thing you come up with. You went and bought a shed off of Amazon for $13,000.
A shed. It's a shed.
It looks like one of those like home things they get for homeless people. Yeah, we're gonna put them in a bunch of sheds. We feel bad for them. You have your own home now. It's like a little shed.
I literally have one of those in my backyard. Well, very similar.
You do. They sell houses now on Amazon for like $19,000.
Interesting.
It literally shows up in a big box, like you pull it off and everything, but it has no power. That's what the A's did. They ordered this on Amazon. Other than that, you're on your own later.